Yo, 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 what's going on? What's going on, Atlanta Falcon fans, man? Y'all know who it is.
Man, y'all,
Dynamic duo, pop up boys, whatever you want to call us, man. Whew. We've been had, some great news the last 24 hours, man. And I think this is the start of something great, but that's just my opinion. Before we get it going, man, you know what to do.
what's good, y'all? How y'all feeling, man? Hope y'all been enjoying your weekend. And of course, we got to talk about the news, the big news that dropped yesterday, early yesterday about Matty Ice, Matty Falcon, Matty Football. He's the new president of football operations. And yeah, we got to dive into that and a few other things as well. So, man, y'all make sure y'all come on in and rock with us on this Sunday morning.
That's a fact for sure. But we want to say good morning to the chat like we always do, or say hello to the chat like we always do.
Mm-hmm.
Marvelous masculinity was good. RB Floyd Dunley was good. Dirty Bird Gang, Craig Air Force, Robert Blackman, Anthony Wright, who else? Stephen West, Jermaine Williams, our boy Solomon Washington. What's good, man? Let me pick up the first comment of the day. Stephen West said, "Good morning, happy Sunday." Matt Ryan is expected now. Ian Cunningham, and we're gonna get into that in 1 second,
Right.
because we've been saying on the show for about a week or so, a week or two, that all this is just boy. Good morning, Miss Pam, Justin
How you
Swisher.
feeling?
What's good, nephew? Like King ATL support say, hit that like button, man. Hype us up. If y'all go back to the video I dropped on John Harbaugh, man, y'all showed out with that one, man. So please go keep hyping that video up. And it's over 10K right now. So hey, we're gonna keep doing it, man. We're gonna keep doing it. Good morning. I mean, we that's your phone number. We don't want no everybody to have your phone number, so put your
Right.
name up there.
Right. Right.
But let's
Be
let's get
careful.
into it right quick, man.
We'll
I'm gonna let
text you.
Chris gonna host this show, man, because he came up with the idea, so I'm gonna let him do his thing. I'm gonna just follow along. But go
Hey, man.
ahead.
Oh, shoot, man. You already know. We definitely got to first talk about Matt Ryan and just what it means for the Falcons to have Matt Ryan in. You've already heard about him being one of the most detail-oriented persons that a lot of people that have been around the Atlanta Falcons organization has ever met. I definitely believe that. And the thing about Matt that a lot of people may not know about him, he does have some fire, and it's not just the get F and set that he was saying. Julio Jones and getting the wide receivers all together. It's not just that. That just was in the moment of his passion. But outside of that, he's always been that type of a passionate guy. He's always been a guy that's been detail oriented and making sure that everybody knows what they're supposed to do, understands it, and recites it back. So again, just having a guy like Matt Ryan, someone that if you guys saw what he said on X about just taking the job, about how he always been a Falcon, like he appreciated everything that the coach did for him and the coach organization and welcoming him and the Ice Cubes, the family with open arms. But at the same time, he said, I've always been a Falcon. I always will be a Falcon. And stuff like that is exactly what we need. We need somebody that's going to embody and really care about where the organization is going and want to make a change and want to make sure that the Falcons are getting the best that they possibly can get. So again, I'm all for it. I'm actually excited about what direction this Falcons franchise can go with a guy as I would say headstrong as Matt Ryan is. So I just say, get ready for it. Let's see what he can do. What you got,
Yeah,
Smitty?
and you got to think, man, too. You got to think he's been behind the scenes with the Falcons since he pretty much retired. Um, Also with Discoms, someone that we've talked about, and we've said, over and over, somebody that knows the culture of the city, what we need. Working with CBS the last couple of years gave him a chance to network with executives, coaches, former coaches, and anybody around the NFL, and that's the strength of the media. And when you're in media, you get pretty much get to rub elbows with anybody that you can dream of. Current stars, future stars, legends, just anybody. So they've been pretty much grooming him since he retired from football. Let's keep it real. And as I told y'all, and y'all heard in the press conference, the way Arthur Blank talked about him, I said the job is his to lose. So when you make up your mind as to what direction that you want this city to go, I mean, that's pretty much what it's gonna be.
Right. I
But
have the entire quote right here for you guys too.
go ahead.
Quote, Matt Ryan, word for word. Arthur Blank gave me the chance of a lifetime almost 20 years ago, and he's done it again today. While I appreciate the time I had with the Colts and with CBS, I've always been a Falcon. It feels great to be home. I cannot be more excited, grateful, or humbled by this new opportunity. I began my career with a singular goal: to do right by the Blank family, the Falcons organization, the city of Atlanta, and especially our fans. My commitment to the success of this franchise has not changed. I'm beyond ready to help write a new chapter of excellence. #Falcons.
That's what I'm talking about, man. That's what we need. I mean, Pam said she always been his number one fan. What he brings to the Falcon organization is trust and accountability, and that's what we've needed for a while. Solomon Washington said this was correct hire. Matt Ryan is a natural leader and is very knowledgeable about the game of football. More importantly, I feel like he will not be afraid to make tough decisions needed. And see, this is what me and Chris been talking about with Terry Fontenot. Even if his hands were tied just a little bit, he still should have put his foot down and said, "Man, I just don't agree with such and such. This and that and this move and that move." If he had done that and some of those moves that were questionable, he probably would have kept his job. But he went along with what was going on. And sometimes when you have to make the tough decision, you have to put your foot down and say, "No, we're not going that direction. We're going to do this instead." So if Matt Ryan comes in with that type of attitude, I think he'll be GM probably in the next 4 to 5 years, depending on what goes on, if the team is winning or not. But he's definitely going to be the next GM, in my opinion.
That would be interesting. I mean, at the end of the day, he would been on, built up a little rapport around the league, getting more closer with the GMs, with the talent, scattering. So that would be interesting in a few years, seeing Matt Ryan as possible president of football and GM.
Right.
That'd be interesting if they decide to go that route. But for right now, we're just going to let Matt focus on what's on the grass, and so being the president of football. So I want structure, and I think Matt Ryan is going to help bring that structure again. Like, Matt is a headstrong type of a guy, and he's the head coach and the GM have to report to him. So I think Matt would make those tough decisions and saying, "Hey, look, I don't think this is the direction that the Falcons need to be going." And honestly, behind the scenes, let's keep it real, even with the CBS moves and working with CBS and doing different podcasts and stuff, we know for a fact Matt Ryan was still in full contact with Arthur Blank, probably, even advising him on different things. "Hey, Art, and this and that." And Arthur Blank values Matt Ryan's opinion. You don't just create a position, even though the position was a suggestion from the Sportsology. It's still like you don't create a position and and just automatically just have somebody in mind like this, if you haven't already been talking. And that's going to back what Smitty was saying. This has already been going on behind the scenes.
Right.
Like, we're just now hearing about it. But again, relationships, they build, they have ideas, and we're saying, okay, we're going to bring you to the forefront with the opportunity arises, and the opportunity arose. So
Right.
At the end of the day, Moody, what's happening, man? How you feeling? Said behind Tom Glavine, Matt Ryan is the most stoic Atlanta player in my humble opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Hey,
I agree with that.
Glavine,
I remember Tom Glavine was a hockey player, so he tough.
Yeah, man. I ain't gonna lie, Glavine was the man too. Don't get me wrong. Of course, my favorite is still Greg Maddux, but out of that
That's
trio,
me too. Man,
yeah.
oh yeah.
Yeah, but out of that trio, if you just want to talk about just, hard-nosed guy, used to go out and just get it, lefty at that, it's a Tom Glavine, man. You couldn't have the Braves. You can't mention the Braves without Greg Maddux, Tom Glavine, and John Smoke, respectfully.
Right.
But yeah, man, getting back to it though, yeah, man, I've always said that nobody is like Matt Ryan. And regardless, you see how other players, certain things happen with them. And then like as far as like contract related, being traded, all these different things. Even when we went after Deshaun Watson, he still never bashed the organization. He asked for a quiet trade because it wasn't in the media. Oh, Ian Rappaport, boom, 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 boom. Matt Ryan's agent said this and that. Everything was quiet, and it was respectful all the way to the Colts. And even when he retired, he still never like bashed the Falcons, regardless. And you see why? Because, like he said, he's always been a Falcon, no matter what.
Yeah, and even though I didn't like what he did in Indianapolis, and I said it, he should have just retired. He probably shouldn't even play the down for the Colts, but he had to satisfy that contract. But this move also, to me, it signifies what they've been doing, and sometimes we can look at it in a negative light, but when you have certain friendships in the league, I just feel like some of those friendships can take you to another level. And we talk about the coaches and the friends that they brought in that hadn't worked out. I think this is something that's going to work out because of his ties to what has happened in the last 15, 16 years. And we've brought in, and if you can get them the candidates right quick, who they've hired, and then I'll go to my next point.
Well, as far as interviews goes, okay, here we go. Yeah, as far as interviews goes, we've interviewed 3 coaches so far, and that is, of course, the number one option for a lot of people, Klint Kubiak, Seahawks offensive coordinator. But we also interviewed Anthony Weaver, defensive coordinator for the Dolphins. And by the way, they actually want to talk to Chris Shula. That actually may be cool. And also Aiden Dirty for the Seattle Seahawks. He's a defensive coordinator for the Seahawks.
Right.
That one was a surprise. I'm not even gonna lie to you, for me, because I didn't even expect him to even be really a candidate. But
let's be real, Chris.
Look at their
Let's
defense.
be real, Chris. Let's be real right quick. I didn't mean to cut you off. Was it really a surprise every time a team that bust through in a season, anytime they bust through, their candidates become, top candidates? Look at what happened in Detroit. Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson, they're now head coaches. Every year, that breakthrough team, their coordinators become top guys as far as head coaching jobs, as far as coordinating jobs, if they just want to switch teams. But it really wasn't a surprise. And this is going to tie together, but keep going.
But those guys were still like already in the media as reportedly to possibly look for head coaching jobs. Aiden wasn't. So that's why I'm like, okay, that's why it was a surprise to me that the Falcons even interviewed him. Anthony Weaver, I know he's interviewed a few times, so I wasn't surprised about Anthony Weaver's name popping up again. So, but again, like, I don't think that that's the route that they're going to go, even though he does have that Seahawks defense, looking good, but I don't think that's the direction they're going. I honestly believe they're going to keep it offensive minded. At worst case scenario, and I still say it again, Robert Saleh is the dark horse. If they can't get the guys that they want, I still believe that they got him waiting in the wings just in case, because they want to keep that defense together. Going back to what Arthur Blank said, bro, they want to keep that. They want to have Jeff Ulbrich here. That's why he's going to be recommended, as Arthur saying. But that he's saying recommended, but he's really saying, in my opinion, Jeff Ulbrich is here to stay, and the coach that's coming in got to be okay with that.
Facts. Absolute facts. To finish my point off, y'all know, if y'all follow my Twitter, y'all would know earlier I put up a tweet about saying that me and A1 put the puzzle together
Oh,
because
yeah, I saw it.
Dave added the first piece. And Matt Miller, you can see NFL scout Matt Miller said, "I wonder, given how close Matt Ryan and Ryan Poles are, if Ian Cunningham is in-house favorite for the Falcons GM job." And me and Chris said that earlier in the week or last week or sometime like that. But
We talked
now
about
that they've got one out the way and they've already interviewed Ian Cunningham for the president of football job, which Matt Ryan just got. And to me, I just thinking this is my opinion, not talking, not adding anybody. I
it.
feel like that was, the prelude to him interviewing again for the GM job. So they're just pretty much finishing off what I think is going to be Ian Cunningham taking the job. The friendship with Ryan Poles, working under Ryan Poles, who is very good friends with Matt Ryan. So, and Ryan Poles behind the scenes
Right.
has been giving Matt Ryan pointers on how to, succeed in the industry, and, giving him pointers on how to become a GM. And now that we could possibly have those two positions out of the way, to me, and like I said, this is my opinion, I
Mhm.
feel like now you have it to the point where you kind of got an idea who the coach gonna be. And I said this on a video I'm gonna put up a little later. Um, After the Packers lost last night, I think Matt LaFleur is gonna be the top candidate, and I've said that on the show before. If that ends up coming to fruition, he's gonna be the number one guy. You look at
Right.
the number two guy, we think is Klint Kubiak. That's everybody's favorite candidate pick.
Right.
But the sleeper pick that I think is going to be an Atlanta Falcons coach
Flores.
is all of their good friend Brian
Brian
Flores.
Flores. I knew it. Yep. Flores.
So when you look at those three coaching candidates, um, I
Oh,
think
so
it's a home run. And we've talked about we don't want a defensive guy, but think about it. Brian Flores turned around an awful Miami Dolphins team with bad ownership and still got the job done. And he has that tenacity that we need on defense. Does that mean Jeff Ulbrich could leave? Possibly, but I think they're gonna find a way if he's hired to lock in Jeff Ulbrich as well, and make this team's identity defense. Yeah, we have a lot of offensive weapons, but what's wrong with starting something and trying something new to where we have identity that we can grow off of?
right.
So,
And then you have with Ryan Poles, him and Matt
right.
Ryan, they were like roommates or something like that. And then I know
Yeah, at Boston College.
yeah,
And him and Brian Flores,
played
Matt Ryan was a freshman quarterback on the scout team, while Brian Flores was a starter
right,
on the defense.
right.
So yeah. So go ahead.
I'm saying all those different relationships right there. So we'll see about Ian. Oh, but outside of Ian Cunningham, and they did interview a couple other guys. The Panthers executive vice president Brant Tillis. They also interviewed Josh Williams, who they said was pretty excellent. They
Right.
also interviewed Mike Disner, Lions COO, and they also said that he is a very polished individual as well. But even with that, you can like a guy, but I still believe they have Cunningham in mind just for the relationships, being the Bears assistant GM. And you look at what the Bears did yesterday, and really what they've been doing all season long, being those guys that can come back at the last at the last end of the game and have that resolve, and they was able to do it again last night. Even though the Packers, their kicker missed 2 field goals and an extra point, so they missed a whole touchdown. But at the end of the day, the Bears, they still were able to capitalize and come back. So the roster building and everything, Ryan Poles, he definitely has a lot to do with that. And then being Ian Cunningham, being the assistant GM, learning from that guy, it's going to be kind of like a hand in hand thing, Smitty.
That's true. That's true. And then the thing about I think to me, when I was watching the Arthur Blank press conference the other day, he pretty much laid out the format as to what they're gonna try to do this off season. And if it falls into place, it's gonna be just like we talked about it. Then you think about when he said I learned from past, digressions of what I did, and what he was talking about then. I think was passing over those three coaches that made it to the playoff this year to go for Raheem Morris, something he was comfortable with. And as I told y'all too, man, you think about it, um, the decision they made to go with Raheem Morris over those guys, to me, that was the end of, to me, Arthur Blank just supreme reign. He said he had to get his team back, and he did. But at the same time, let's keep it real. I think he was telling us Josh Blank is the future of the Atlanta Falcons. That's my take from it, because if he admitted to something that he did wrong and he's going to take a new approach, that means he's listening to somebody new and not Rich McKay. And this is why Matt Ryan got this job.
But check it out though. Like, you knew that Josh was getting groomed. Remember, think about it back at the draft. Who was answering the phones? Josh Blank. You think about that. Like, he was already getting groomed a little by little, and I believe eventually he is going to be the one that's going to take over this team. So,
right.
But he's not going to be alone. He's going to have guys like Matt Ryan, possibly Ian Cunningham, or at least somebody that's going to be experienced in positions to be able to help him along the way as well. So again, I feel like Josh looks like this is what it feels like now. Now, this is just me talking, and this is very early and premature, but it feels like with the addition of Greg Beatles, with the addition of him, right. Also Josh Blank and Matt Ryan, that's going to be the new trio. Especially Matt and Josh, I can definitely see that.
Repeat that so you can put it on wax when it comes to repeat that.
No, for real, I'll tell you, like with the addition of Greg Beatles, I think that Josh Blank and Matt Ryan, that's going to be the trio to lead the Falcons into the future. You know, when everybody else is not here anymore. Let's just say that. And so I'm firmly believe it. Especially Josh and Matt. That's Arthur and Rich right there.
Yeah. That's what we're talking about. And see, that's the thing, man. Sometimes all you got to do is just put two and two together, man. Think outside the box sometimes. And as young as an owner as Josh Blank would be, and he won't have to worry about Rich McKay's old ways. And Matt Ryan's, younger way of thinking. I just think you absolutely 200% correct. And when you add the coach, the coaching aspect, I think this is why they go after a young guy. Brian Flores is still young. Klint Kubiak is still young. Matt LaFleur is still young. So, like I said, it's just time to make changes and go in a younger direction. And guess what? Jordan Schultz broke some news a little bit earlier, 8 minutes ago. And I'm going to bring it up right quick so we can go over it right quick.
Might as well.
Broke it on Twitter. There we go, right here. Jordan Schultz. If Matt LaFleur is let go,
and that's a big if.
Big if. There's several connections to keep in mind. New Falcon president Matt Ryan. LaFleur was Ryan's quarterback coach during his MVP season and Super Bowl season. There's a key link there. And as I told y'all, they all about relationships in Atlanta. Dolphins, new GM John Eric Sullivan. Green Bay, he was with Green Bay for 20 years. He could go there.
That's true.
Tennessee Titans, who also interviewing Arthur Smith. Said LaFleur was previously offensive coordinator before becoming Packers head coach. And he did leave Atlanta and go there. And team president Chad Brinker, and also came from Green Bay. And if y'all remember too, Matt LaFleur went to the Rams as well. So he's been around doing this thing. And it says not even mentioning other teams without direct ties who will likely have interest as well. And it's going to heat up in the next couple of days because that loss last night, I'm telling y'all, it's got to be on their mind. But go ahead. My bad.
No, I'm just saying that's tough, bro. Like how they lost the game. And then, of course, they're linking all. Then, of course, the 28-3 rears his ugly head for LaFleur because he was being mentioned out here. He was on the coaching staff and how he had the lead and that they lost the lead. It looked so similar to the Falcons, blah, blah, blah. It was just bad. Right now, the press is bad on LaFleur. But again, you had drop passes, you had missed kicks. They essentially left about anywhere between 10 to 14 points on that field last night alone.
Right.
All the miscues that the Bears were having, initially, and then they still were able to find a way to win. But, that's just kudos to Ben Johnson and his coaching staff, making adjustments, because that's exactly what happened at halftime. They made adjustments. Things they still, I said, was kind of trotting along, but they finally got going once that defense really started bowling down, or bearing down, as they like to say. Everything else was history. So, yes, it was an ugly loss for LaFleur, but I think I still would take it. I think I still would take him. He just got to make sure that he continues to run the freaking ball, because that really reminded me so much of like Shanahan when they just stopped running the ball. So,
chewing up the clock.
Yeah, man.
Same thing.
Yeah, you got to bleed the clock, man. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you just all that passing. I was just like, man, why does it seem like y'all always do that? Like, it just,
And you remember they did it in the Super Bowl when they lost to the Chiefs a couple years ago.
Right,
same
bro.
thing. No.
That's why it doesn't make any sense, like why you would do that. But again, I still have to say, even with that, he's still a top candidate, and he still would be better than what we just had. We got to keep it real about that.
Facts. Our boy, let's get it, GA. He had a question, man. He said, let's just say Flores gets picked. Do y'all see Mike McDaniels coming in as offensive coordinator? It's gonna be tough. Let's get it. I could see it, but however, he's gonna be another one of those coaches that's gonna be a top head coaching candidate up under Kevin Stefanski and John Harbaugh. He's next. So yeah, it could happen, but I think he would obviously become another head coach, because I don't see him taking a step back. And it's not a step back, it's just a position back.
Man, it's a step back.
Go ahead.
I said, no, man, it's a step back. If you think about it, nobody wants to go from a head coach to have to become a coordinator, but you want to stay in the league. I still believe that the Dolphins' job is over with. I don't necessarily see him getting the Ravens' job, but you just never know. But ultimately, there's still head coaching jobs out there, whether if it's the Titans, the Raiders, is other places he could go if he just absolutely is just firm on still being a head coach. Being the offensive coordinator, I wouldn't mind having McDaniel here, especially if we're going defensive minded. We have to get an experienced guy in here that at least knows what he's doing. But hey, he could be one of those guys that ends up on somebody's organization as their head coach again. We just can't deny that fact that that option is not open for him as well.
Yeah, agreed. And one thing that I want y'all to think about, man, and I did a video on this the other day, and I had a question in the chat. Jermaine Simmons had a quick question about John Harbaugh. Have they found out where John Harbaugh is going yet? It's going to be a process because of the asking price. I watched Cleveland. Look, I do one better. A1. I'm gonna put it up to the people that brought it to the forefront as to what it would take for John Harbaugh. Right.
I talked to a league insider who speculates on what he's heard about Harbaugh's prerequisites to even be interested in your job.
Okay.
$20 million a year.
Not a problem.
Not a problem. $10 million assistant coach budget.
Not a problem.
Okay. Total authority over the roster. And also would like to select his own guy to lean on, personnel guy.
Okay, so would he be making the draft picks? Like, you're going to ask this guy? That kind of makes me feel uneasy. Does he want more say over the roster than what he had in Baltimore?
Yes.
Ooh.
Which would be a total change in the structure here. I think there are 4 definite candidates for Harbaugh to end up with. Cleveland now is, I think, 4th.
Okay.
Miami,
the Giants,
and Atlanta.
There you have it.
I'm not gonna
that's
lie.
What I'm saying. Go ahead. You got it. Go ahead.
Just say, Smitty, I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. And of course we're on live and everything, but just me and you talking, brother. With all those different things, first of all, those last two right there are already to me is going to have the Falcons out. I know they said he can have the interview if he likes, but think about the verbiage. He can have an interview if he likes, but at the same time, it still doesn't mean that he's going to be selected. The 20 minutes, the money is not the problem. We're not even worried about those first two, but the total authority over the roster, more than control than what he had in Baltimore, and would like to select his own GM. Those two things right there could be the biggest things to keep Harbaugh out of Atlanta. And think about this third thing, this little nugget right here, this tidbit. He wants somewhere that has quarterback structure as well. And unfortunately, keeping it real, it's murky as far as the quarterback situation with the Falcons as far as week 1 goes.
Yeah, that's true. And to add on to what you just said about the quarterback, did he just leave Baltimore because his relationship with the quarterback was a little murky, like you said?
I mean,
and the offensive coordinator, they wanted to fire the offensive coordinator, but he did not. So that means total authority.
But Monken did try to debunk that. He did try to debunk that. Todd Monken, he did have an interview.
Let's be real. You know it. I mean, you look at what happened last year with that hamstring injury and the way he had it patched up on the sideline. That was a joke. That was them bitching him without telling the national media. And if they can do it that way and just keep getting away with it, guess what? They're going to keep doing it. So when you look at John Harbaugh in that aspect, do you really want that media circus to come along with what he has to offer? Don't get me wrong. He's a Super Bowl winning coach. He's won Coach of the Year. He's won 180 games during his 17 seasons with the Ravens. So he's qualified in that aspect. But you look at his age at 62, 63 years old. You look at his way of communicating with certain people in higher positions. That's a question mark. And like you said, with those last two and what we just got through with Fontenot and Raheem Morris with that total control over the roster, Arthur Blank is going to always give his input as to what he wants on his football team. Right. Like I told y'all, they went out and made a move for Julio Jones. Tommy Dimitrov pulled it off, but I'm pretty sure Arthur Blank said, go get me a receiver. If y'all remember, back in 2000, I think it was 7, he wanted Megatron. But Detroit won. I think Detroit wanted too much. No, it was a team that was drafting before Detroit. They wanted too much to move up to that top spot to go get Megatron. So they backed off of that. And as I told y'all before, Arthur Blank's like flashy players. There's nothing wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's like them showstoppers.
Right. If you have a coach that wants total control over the roster, that's overriding the owner, and that's not going to happen. So to select his own GM. What did Arthur Blank tell y'all after every question that y'all asked? They answered to me.
Right. The GM, it's going to go the head coach and the GM going to answer to Matt. Matt going to answer to Arthur. So
right. With
that structure like that, how in the world can we get John Harbaugh if the Falcons stick to their guns like we figure they're going to? There's I don't see no gap. I don't see no way we can get that.
Nope. So I mean, in the way that we look at it, in the way you try to, bear it, John Harbaugh just not gonna happen in Atlanta. If it does, it'll be a shock to me. But like I said, with this coaching hire, I think it's gonna be more of an inner circle type thing, and it's people that they're comfortable with. And I thought they were gonna get uncomfortable for a minute, and really they have, because I think firing, pushing Rich McKay out the way, to me, was a bigger move than anything that they made this offseason.
Mm-hmm.
And not Raheem Morris, not Terry Fontenot, but Rich McKay is out the way. That's all we prayed for. So now, with a younger mind in the front office, as far as Josh, as far as Matt, and as far as whomever else they bring in, I think the Falcons have won the offseason already. All they got to do is go ahead and add more pieces to the team.
Yeah, man. Especially, in this draft. Well, first things first, let's see who our GM is going to be. I know we want to move forward, but we still just got to take this thing one step at a time. Only thing we know right now is Matt Ryan officially is our president of football. So Matty Football is here, and I do believe he's going to have the input on the GM. So that's another reason why I'm still really like on Ian Cunningham until I hear differently. Also, like with that head coach, I'm still leaning toward LaFleur. Is like the number one guy if he gets let go. But until that happens, I still see Kubiak is the one being that guy. They come in, offensive mind, bringing him in, possibly have an offensive coordinator with him.
Right.
Not sure like who the offensive coordinator would be, but I definitely don't expect him to have like a new guy in here, especially with Matt Ryan at the helm as well. But he could call his own plays. There's an option for that too. So just think about that. But ultimately, you think about it, Klint Kubiak makes sense because that's another guy who you can really have that recommendation of keeping Jeff Ulbrich, and it probably go through a lot more smooth than say, and LaFleur too. But again, he's not available yet. So right now, Klint Kubiak is the number one option for what the Falcons want to do if you're just looking at it.
Right. And what they're trying to do, what Chris is really breaking down is saying, we got the players for the system that they want to do on offense. We keep Jeff Ulbrich. He keeps controlling it with Nate Ollie, keep making that defense stronger. And I feel like this team can turn around faster. Tony Lambert, I got to do my research on Chris Brazil, but from what I've been hearing, he's a second, third round talent. But I'm trying to wait until we get the coach in place and we get the GM in place, and then I'll start my free agent targets and my draft profiles. So, I mean, it's coming soon because just like I told Chris the other day, he said, man, I see Monday, I see Tuesday. I said, nah, Chris, they're going to make this move Friday or Saturday because they're trying to get this stuff out the way. And lo and behold, Saturday the news dropped. So,
that's what I'm saying.
We'll see.
You got to have a window of opportunity, and right now the Falcons are operating in that window. They have to get this done because time is ticking. They have really, still a little bit over. Might as well say about still like 2 months before March 11th gets here. And what's so special about March 11th? You have to make a decision on old Kirk Cousins, somebody who I do not believe is going to be on this team anymore. You can't keep that contract. And honestly, the way that this contract is structured, it's for the Falcons to go ahead and be like, all right, Kirk, we're going to holler at you and thank you for your time. But they still have to get everything in place so they can make sure they can start working on the quarterback situation. Because, again, MPJ is not going to be there first week one, and they still have to have the actual talks behind the scenes about MPJ because Arthur said, we're excited to get him back. But they still have to have those realistic conversations behind the scene about whether he's the guy. So I expected for the Falcons to still continue talks about quarterbacks until they just figure it out, especially when you got a quarterback as your president of football. Former.
Facts. Dirty Bird game say he off topic, but Ben Johnson shouted F the Packers in the post-game locker room. Players believe in him. He put his foot down. At halftime on the post I read, that's the type of coach I want. Absolutely. That's why he was so highly touted. But if y'all remember, if you think about what was said about Ben Johnson, about his asking, his want, it was pretty much like Jim Harbaugh. He was asking for $15 million. He was asking for most control over his roster. But you got to think the Chicago Bears not in the same spot as the Atlanta Falcons. He's really built that team up in one season with Ryan Poles putting things in place before he got there. Before Ben Johnson got there, they had Caleb Williams. So he put the quarterback in place. He went out and got key free agents like Montez Sweat and those guys, Grady Jarrett, and he played a little better last night. You already had guys in Briscoe at safety, Jalen Johnson at cornerback. They went out and got DeAndre Swift. So, Ryan Poles set that team up. So when they found the coach that they wanted, it would just run smooth. And I feel like that's exactly what the Falcons are going to do. They're going to put a coach in place that just hit the ground running. And I think that's what you have to do. So I think Matt Ryan has been doing his research over the last 2 years. If he got the job, so when he hit the ground running, he'll know exactly what to do.
Yep, absolutely, man. That's what I'm saying. What you got, D Rich? D Rich says, can y'all give me a quick rundown on Kubiak and why everyone thinks he should be our next head coach? Well, Kubiak, man, one thing about Klint, he has coaching history. He has, I mean, you think about it, he's the son of a legendary coach, Gary Kubiak. So think about it, he's grown up around the NFL. He has coaching experience all the way dating back to college as well, wide receiver coach, and being a quality control coach at Texas A&M, I remember. But just talk about the NFL game. He's been with the Minnesota Vikings. He came in as a quality control assistant wide receivers coach. He's been a quarterback coach, offensive coordinator ever since 2021 with the Vikings, also pass game coordinator with the Broncos, pass game coordinator with the 49ers, also with the Aints last year, and now he's with the Seahawks. So he's been around, but you think about everywhere he's gone since 2021, the offense has progressed in better ways. And then think about the minds that he's been around too, like the Kyle Shanahans, and also in the past dealing with guys, like I said, dealing with his father, learning from him, and also just those different coaching staffs. Those are some dominant and prominent coaching staffs that he was on. So, like, he's also this is going to be his first head coaching experience, yes. But the fact that what he's able to do with offenses and have control of the offense, not just running plays, but have total control of the offense with the talent. Look at the talent that he's using, too. And even though the Aints had injuries last year, he still did have that offense looking decent for the talent that they had, which was bare minimum. You think about it, outside of Olave and Kamara, who you really think about that's on that team. And you think about it too, they beat us. Remember they had
the shit out of us.
They had that losing streak going on, and we were 6-3. He was a part of that team that that beat us. Then he moved on to the Seahawks, and you see what they're doing with Sam Darnold, a guy who's really a journeyman. He's been a journeyman his career. He's played on like 6 different teams. Again, he was with the Vikings last year, came over to here this year. So he didn't have to learn necessarily a completely new offense because, they have Kevin O'Connell, who's still in that whole McVay tree and just that offense West Coast anyway. So he didn't have to learn necessarily a new system, but he still had to learn a new coordinator. And you see where they are. They're playing today, number 1 seed, all that good stuff like that. So it's like it's time for him to at least, take the next step, and he could take the next step with us.
Now, actually, Seattle's out. They play next week.
Oh, yeah. So even better. Yeah. So they're waiting to play. So, and that's another reason why Kubiak is able to take these interviews right now, too, because they are on bye week. So, yes.
Yeah. And see, that's what I'm saying. Shout out to Klint Fresh. That's my little bro, Stephon Mosley. Shout out to him, man. Y'all go check out Klint Fresh on Instagram and on YouTube, man. It helps support my little brother. He doing his thing, man. But yeah, I mean that you broke it down to a T. And when you think about it, like I said before, you even spoke of that. I said they want to hit the ground running with what they already have. Klint Kubiak came up in the Mike Shanahan system in Denver with his dad, and I showed a picture on one of the videos I did. He was a little boy in one of those pictures with John Elway and Mike Shanahan. So I just feel like offensive wise, it's the fit we need. So yeah, Klint Kubiak. If it's not Matt LaFleur, Klint Kubiak, like I said, and my sleeper is probably going to be Brian Flores. So
see that Brian Flores just makes so much sense, Smitty, with the relationship. But I mean, that's the same thing I was saying. Like, even if Flores, because the only way he's leaving the Vikings is a head coaching job. And even if Flores is not, I'm going with a defensive guy too, but I'm going with somebody that's closer, more so to Jeff Ulbrich than anybody else. It's just, again, that Robert Saleh guy is just, again, we requested an interview with him. And we're going to see, honestly, because the 49ers play today, correct?
Correct.
You're right. So we'll see like what happens with the 49ers if they end up losing. If you'll see Monday or Tuesday, we have interviewed Robert Saleh. We'll see.
Yeah. But he has another question. He says Murray or Tua as the quarterback while Michael Penix is out. And this is what I've been telling y'all. It's going to be two veterans on these two veterans are probably going to be on the trade block, or they're going to be released by their teams and they're going to bite the bullet and take up those salaries. But if either one of these guys are free agents, it's going to be tough to pick. But I feel like if you look at it, I think Murray will be probably one that would fit, because when you talk about concussions and Tua, he's probably one concussion away from ending his career, even though a couple of doctors told him that probably would be smart after his last concussion. So, they're a little small, though. They're a little bit small on the quarterback side, but they're veterans at the same time and they can make plays. So, if you had to ask me, would I go one of these guys? I would say no, but I would not be surprised. But I'm still looking at Jameis Winston. I'm still looking at
Smith, wait a minute.
Kubiak comes in. Go ahead.
Wait a minute, Smitty. You out on Kyler Murray? Kyler Murray looking at you like, wait a minute, Smitty. You said you was in on me. Now you out on me.
I mean, I could do it, but if there is a better option, in the free agent market, and I don't think it might be. But you got to go veteran, because you don't go back to being a young quarterback anymore. And Mac Jones, that's another one. Thank you.
This one is
Ronald
mine.
Charles, appreciate it. Mac Jones is probably going to be, and you have to trade for him. And depending on what the market looks like, they may be asking for a second round pick.
Oh, see, now that is what I can't do, though. And that's a little bit too rich for my blood for Mac Jones. But I do feel like if you can get Mac Jones for a good price, I think it would be smart to extend him. That he has 1 year left on that deal. I think it would be smart to at least extend him to maybe like 3 years for security. I'm just saying, you have an experienced quarterback on there, and Mac Jones, he was serviceable for out there and running like a similar offense. Not questions about Penix, or at least not to have to rush Penix back. I think it would be smart to possibly do that, but that's an option. Jameis is also an option. I understand him too. I know Malik Willis, he is a free agent. You could go that route if you wanted to, but I know there's a lot of questions with that too. And that would probably make more sense if LaFleur is your coach, but because he got the best out of him. But honestly, man, yeah, Jameis is an option. Jacoby Brissett, that could possibly be an option too. So, but
I think they'll re-sign him long term. If they release Kyler Murray, they'll sign him for about 2 more years. Probably try to draft a quarterback in 2027 because this quarterback class is not very strong. But the one with Arch Manning is probably going to be 2-3 times stronger than this draft class at quarterback. So we'll see. But my boy, let's get it. Say it's crazy. It may be my sleeper at the bridge quarterback position is Justin Fields. All I'm saying is don't be surprised.
Sean. Now I'm gonna have to come on down there and put you in the headlock, man. Now, I did say Justin Fields a couple of seasons ago as possibly being, a season ago, possibly being a bridge quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons. But man, Justin just does not look good anywhere he goes. But I will say this too, though.
But let's be real though, Chris. Let's be real.
I'll cater to it. Think about that RPO. Think about that RPO with him and Bijan. Who you going after? Both of them can run. Both of them can take off. Imagine that run game. That RPO game would be something else, though. What about that accuracy? We got to get that ball down the field.
But you got to think about this too, Chris. If they think about even bringing back Kyle Pitts, that's $16 million, and you have Drake London coming up for a contract, Bijan coming up for a contract, and with the quarterback position, you already invested money in Kirk Cousins for the next season. You still paying Michael Penix, so Justin Fields, money wise, it makes a lot of sense. That's why you have to bring in the right coach if you're going to take that approach. Not saying that they're going to go after Justin Fields, but if you take that approach, is going to be money-wise, probably one of the better decisions. And I keep seeing y'all say Malik Willis, the way he played this season, his numbers have skyrocketed. He's probably in the $20-some million range right now at quarterback. And that's saying a lot. And if Matt LaFleur is hired in Atlanta, I can see that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
But, I think he's priced himself out as far as going to get a veteran like that. And I just think money-wise, Justin Fields makes sense. Trade-wise, Matt Jones make a lot of sense. And if you're going to go, just Russell Wilson bound as far as contract, as far as vet minimum, Kyler Murray or Justin or Tua Tagovailoa makes a lot of sense.
Hey man, all I'm saying is after you praise the Lord, just go ahead and make sure you pop on the YouTube and holler at your boys. That's all. There's nothing wrong with that. Keep God first.
She done put the boot and the damn boxing glove up.
Right. Goodness gracious. Take it easy.
They say you don't kick people when they down and you don't bust nobody in the eye when they up. Hey, look, I'm just saying.
And she gonna do both. Hey, I will say this too though, man. Chat, man, I swear sometimes, y'all can really just extend the show. Because I got a question now, Smitty, and I gotta ask. Hold on.
Hey man, I got a little bit more.
I gotta ask,
more
man.
Time, go ahead.
So has the price gone up? We have football players on our team, Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts. They're all pros now. So with that being said,
price did just go up.
Falcon fans, the price just went up. Regardless, that's just how business goes. Kyle Pitts' price just went up. Bijan Robinson,
16 to 18, possibly. Go ahead.
Bijan Robinson just went up because he's a two-time All-Pro, all-purpose and running back. First team running back at that. First team. Hold up the one for Bijan. So I'm just saying, bro, like the price went up. So Smitty, this is where I got to turn to you. And I got to say, what did you say that the Falcons need to do? And I agreed with you when you said it.
Nobody's safe.
No. What they need to do about their contract?
Sign it to him while it's early.
I'm trying
Get
to
it
tell
out the way.
I'm trying to tell you, you may want to. I know Drake is up, but you may want to go to Bijan agents early and say, hey, look, can we go ahead and get ahead of this now and try to see if we can get Bijan paid now? If we have to give him an extension moving forward, we can work that out when we get there. But can we figure out how we can get Bijan locked in right now, our all-pro locked in right now before somebody else resets the market? So I'm looking at you, Detroit Lions, because I want to get in front of you before whatever you decide to do with Jahmyr Gibbs. I'd rather get my running back.
With Jonathan Taylor. Same thing
Right.
with Jonathan Taylor.
I would rather get my running back paid now, bro. And then that way we can put pressure on the Colts and especially on the Lions, somebody that's an NFC rival, on what you're going to do with your running back. Make you overpay, then possibly you may lose a piece that may go somewhere else. Maybe the Falcons, you never know. But at the end of the day, I'd rather put that pressure on them than have that pressure put on us. So Falcons need to get ahead of it. I'm in full support of it.
Yeah. And think about it, man. I keep telling y'all, and I'm not being negative. You got to make a decision on one of these players. And then I think with Kyle Pitts' price going up, he's most likely gone. I don't even think he comes back, even if you franchise tag him, because even if you have to sign him to a new deal, it's going to average close to $20 million. And do you, like I said, do you want to end up back in that same situation with Matt, Julio, and Dion? No. You're thinking about Bijan, $25 million. I'm going to stick to that number. For a running back, it's ridiculous. But he's Bijan Robinson. He's the best player in the NFL. So you pay what you pay what the market say what you are. You look at Drake London. To me, he's not a $35 million receiver. Yes, I said $35 million. So the way to jump in the head of this curve is you try to see what Drake asking number is ahead of time. If it is not lining up with what you want to do, Make that move.
Right.
Because I tell y'all, wide receiver is one of those positions where you can just bring someone in, whether it's through the draft, whether it's free agency. Because think about it. Once George Pickens signs that $35 million deal, Drake London is solidified as a $35 million guy.
Yeah. And the franchise tag is projected to be $28 million this year as a franchise tag for wide receivers.
And so the next year after that is going to be over 30.
That's what I'm saying. It goes up year after year. So you may be getting to the point to where you're kind of like default paying at least 30-something million for Drake. So, and I just don't see the Atlanta Falcons really just keeping everybody unless people start paying pay cuts to stay with one another. But a lot of these guys, it's their first contract. So they're not necessarily going to do that. They already been working on the rookie scale. Now it's time to get paid. And Kyle Pitts, I totally believe Kyle will stay if you pay him. But if you don't,
but the thing with that, Chris, it goes back to what I just said. You got 3 players that's in the $25 to $35 million range. Somebody got to go. Who is it going to be? I think Bijan is the safest. I think Drake is number 2, and I think Kyle is number 3. But there are players out here that can come in and fill those positions and be productive, and we get a lot of compensation in return. It just depends on who you want to stick with, how you want to build.
Now the chat is making a great point. Just because we're doing all the see, that's why I love our chat, man. We start putting all these connections together, and then they start chiming in right with us. See, because Kyle Pitts could possibly stay because of the relationship that he had with Matt Ryan. Remember, Matt Ryan was there his final year. Should I say Kyle Pitts rookie year? Got him 1,000 yards. So the indication could be there that maybe they can talk about it, can come to a resolution or agreement, and possibly Kyle Pitts could stay just off of the relationship with Matt.
Right.
So
hey, I mean that's about all you can say, man. But before we leave, keep going, Chris, because Matt Ryan just put up something on CBS on his new role with the Atlanta Falcons. I'm finna try to put it up so everybody could hear it right quick.
Love it. That's what I'm talking about. That's what it is, right? Breaking news. Always, you know what I'm saying, from like Smitty said, whether you call us the dynamic duo, the pop-up boys, hey man, Falcons finest, whatever you want to call us, man. At the end of the day, we're gonna bring you that news always. And guys, moving forward, I just want to know how much are you guys willing to pay Kyle Pitts? You know,
that's a good question. Kyle Pitts? I'm at 16 million. I'm standing around 16, 17. Anything over that is not worth it. And I know the salary cap go up every year, but let's keep it real. With too many people that you got to pay, and you still got Chris Lindstrom, who may be in for a new deal in a couple of weeks. But I'm sorry, a couple of years. But I mean, you always thinking about the future at the same time, and this is why I say guys like Jesse Bates, who's up for a new deal. This is why he may get moved in the offseason. But let's listen to what Matt Ryan had to say right quick about his new job with the Falcons and leaving CBS.
They would be the Hall of Fame coach Bill Cowher, the multi-talented Emmy Award winner Nate Burleson, and folks, the former league MVP, and now the Atlanta Falcons' new president of football.
Hey, congratulations!
Thank you, fellas.
So we sit here like next year and we get to watch your team over there. Can I just say, like, when I define and I have to sit there and talk about what I'm looking at when I see Atlanta Falcons football, what words should be coming out of my mouth?
Oh, that's a great question, Coach. The good part is that it's coming out of your mouth, and we're talking about that this time of the year. I think that's the vision for where we want to be. You want to be in the mix, in the playoffs, and it's been too long there, and we're going to work really hard and find the right people to get us back into that position to be successful. But you guys know it, football, it's about the people. The building is about the people. There's a lot of really good people in that building that are already there. It starts at the top. with Arthur Blank, and I'm fortunate to be in this position, excited about the opportunity and ready to get started.
Listen,
You are ready for
selfishly,
it, man. Embrace the opportunity.
yeah, and selfishly, we want you to stick around here because you're one hell of a talent, but it's a position that you have to take, and we're proud of you, man. Looking forward to what you're going to do in that building.
Thank you,
Your new
guys.
position. And last thing I'll say, the Burleson boys will be available for the 2029 draft. So, we'll talk around then.
Long-term vision.
There you
You
go.
got to have the long-term
Hey,
vision.
congrats again.
Thank
man.
you.
That's
My
what I'm talking
man.
about, man. That's the type of attitude you have to have. But he had another thing talking about making the playoffs. Situational football. He talked about that, and me and Chris been talking about that a lot too. So take a listen at this right quick. Get back up there on the board. There you go. Let's go right quick.
I think the other thing, to keep an eye on today is situational football. We have seen it early in the playoffs. It is magnified this time of the year. How you close out the half, how you start the second half, what you're doing at the end of the game, finishing drives in the red area. Touchdowns are essential, but the points are key too. We've seen that, not taking points. The decision to be aggressive and conservative, all of that stuff gets magnified this time of the year. Sean McDermott, lots of experience in those type of situations. Liam Cohen, new to it. It's going to be interesting to see the two approaches from the different head coaches. I think the other thing,
See what I'm talking about?
to keep it.
He's already showing y'all why he's good for that position and good for that job.
That's
He's
it.
showing y'all.
That's it. That music to my ears, baby. For real, man. Because how long have we been talking about? Oh my Lord, like that was such music to my ears, Smitty. Because all those things that Matt was talking about in that, we have complained about that. Situational play calling, situation winning the game within the game, breaking down the offense, having total control of the offense, and being able to make adjustments on defense and everything, all that stuff. And that's why he's Matty football. He gets it, Yes, sir.
Miss Stephanie, what's good?
Hey, how you feeling?
Hey man, look, I'm telling y'all, I got to give everybody their 2 seconds of fame. Who said we were downplaying London? Who said that? We just being real about contracts. That's all we talking about, contracts. We never said he wasn't going to re-sign. We never said the Falcons were not going to re-sign him. We just saying logically, you got to be real about who you're going to keep and who you're going to cut and who you're going to move on with. Because at the end of the day, it's about building a team the proper way, and you can't do that with no money. You can't.
Can't do it with no
If you
money.
can do that without money, you just let me know how, and I relay the message to Arthur and everybody down there at the Falcon front office, and we can go from there. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, man, at the end of the day, you look at it like this, bro. Everybody has the players that they love, Some people love Drake. Some people love Bijan. Some people love both. Some people love Kyle. It's just at the end of the day, we're not going to be able to keep everybody unless guys are taking pay cuts. And again, these guys, they're their first contracts. It's not like these guys are Leonard Floyd age or anything like that. They're going to want to get paid. And again, just to not handcuff yourself in a situation like what we were in with Matt, Julio, Dion, taking up 38% of the salary cap, and we still got other players that we want to pay, and we couldn't keep. Remember Foyle Luakon? Remember how good he was for the Falcons? And guess why we couldn't keep him? We couldn't pay him. We ain't had the money. He goes to Jacksonville, and the rest is history. He's still down in there, by the way. He's still down in Jacksonville. So, again, it just happens sometimes. We just got to make sure that we're able to keep our guys. And I'm mainly looking at this defense and looking at a lot of guys like the Zach Harrisons, the Brandon Dorleses, our two bookends that we just drafted. Those guys like that, I want to keep those guys. We got to have money for them too. So when the time comes, so it's just all it is, fam. We got to make sure that we're doing the right thing by our organization. Like Matt has said himself, doing the right thing by the Falcons and making sure that we are a contender and we're not just throwing money, not saying throwing money away, but just throwing money and not able to put it in other places where we need to be strong.
Agreed. And what Jermaine said, he said with Matt Ryan back, I think his leadership will help the Falcons in a big way. He really wants that Super Bowl ring as badly as the rest of the city itself. Absolutely 200% true.
Yeah, man. You heard what this? You heard what I read. Well, in the beginning, I read his message pretty much to Falcon fans, and he was just saying like, "Hey, I came here for one singular goal, do right by the Blank family, the Falcon organization, but especially our fans again." So he's dedicated to winning, and he hasn't lost that fire. And you can, again, just like I forgot who said it, but I think it was Tay Hall, and everything about it, you can see the fire, desire, everything in his eyes is there. Like, he is fired up about this job. He wants to get to work, and he wants to win. And that's what we want. And that's what we always ask for. We just always ask for a winner.
Absolutely.
But you got to put the right guys in place in order to do such.
Absolute facts. But if you got any final word before you get out of here, let it rip.
Hey, man, all I got is, man, thank y'all for tuning in on this Sunday. We had to talk about Matty and a few other things, the head coaching positions, GMs, etc. Thank y'all for tuning in as always. Make sure y'all come back now, because y'all know we're going to have more for y'all coming soon. I know Smitty going to be dropping videos. I'm going to be dropping videos as well. Getting ready for this offseason. The only thing we need now, Smitty, is the GM and the head coach, and start figuring some things out, and then we can get into some draft profiles. Oh, you make sure you do the same thing, and don't throw no more boots at us. Boots on the ground.
Boots, boots and boxing gloves. But yeah, man. Y'all know what to do, man. Thank y'all again. Thank y'all for tuning in, man. Quick pop-up show. We meant to do this before, but time and things fell in the way, but we got it done. But look, as always, find me on Smitty Sports Machine on YouTube. Always find me on Twitter at fatboy_21. Always over there blowing it up, man. If you have a question, please go to the community section on my page. And if it's a great question, I'll make a video, because y'all bringing up great video ideas. I did one where Real McCoy for Life put one about John video, hit 10,000. So thank the Real McCoy for bringing up that idea. And again, if it's no Smitty Sports Machine, if there's no chat, and there's no subscribers and supporters. But Chris, tell them where to find you.
Yes, sir. A1 Forever Sports. That is the platform on YouTube. Come over, like, comment, and subscribe. Be a part of the A1 family. Also, catch me over at the Hawks Digest, man. So much going on with the Atlanta Hawks right now after the recent trade of Trae Young. But catch me over there as well. Me, Walter Pollard. And actually, we're about to add a new member as well. We're in the works about that as well. So we'll see what happens moving forward with that, though. Also, Twitter, A1 Forever, Instagram, A1 Forever, and the real A1 Forever on TikTok.
That's what I'm talking about, man. But for my boy Chris, Auntie Joy, we're going to holler at y'all soon, man. Peace.